Going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Kellycast. Of course, you are watching the Kellycast live official pregame show brought to you by nobody because we don't have any sponsors.
Not yet. We're working on it. Are we working on it? Maybe.
Not really.
We can get IBC in on this.
Good brand cream soda here. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today, buddy?
Aside from the children screaming all day, I've had better, I've had worse, but Bills and Bengals tonight. There's been a lot of exciting football games in week 9 that have happened thus far. But Mike, people have told me my hat is ugly.
People.
And I need to know your thoughts on this beautiful Bills hat.
My thoughts, right? Are you sure you really want to hear
I'm
my thoughts?
ready, man.
Ready.
I'm ready.
You're not going to go cry in a corner?
I can't promise you that.
Okay. Well, my answer is I'm the one who talked you into buying it, so hell no, I don't think it's ugly.
Good, but it's ugly. It's warm. It's warm, but it's ugly.
It down here, but it's not ugly.
It's warm, but it's ugly. I can admit it. It's okay. Mike, let's talk a little bit about the week 9 games here that have concluded as we watched most of them today. Starting off, Dolphins and Chiefs. They almost came back. They were down 21-0. Final ended up being 21-14. Was there anything you saw that you think, deserves mentioning? Mahomes, Hill, anything you saw that was worth highlighting?
I don't remember half of it already. I mean, I was driving for half of it. I went to go get gas, but I mean, Mahomes and company are winning games with basic plays and basic players, and he's just showing why he's the top dog in the NFL, period.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a valid point, but Tyreek Hill in his homecoming game fumbled, and the Kansas City Chiefs returned it for a touchdown, and that, honestly, technically was the difference. 21-14 was the final in that game. Next up, Vikings and Falcons. You went Falcons this week.
Yep.
Did not end up working out for you. Joshua Dobbs comes in 5 days on the team. 5 days, throws the game-winning pass with 22 seconds left.
He did the same thing with the Cardinals.
He did.
And the Cowboys.
He's just one of those. He's just one of those guys. I think he can just adapt to any situation.
Agreed, but then he couldn't win. I mean, he kept them in the games, but he couldn't win a game ever since that Cowboys game. After.
Well, who knows if Jefferson comes back and you get your weapons back, maybe that team is something. Bears and Saints are next. We both got this one right with the Saints. The Bears kept it close, kept it interesting. Bajent, didn't play too bad, but ended up getting the loss, of course. Packers and Rams was a surprising one for me. We both did end up picking the winner being the Green Bay Packers, but it was not close. Like 20-3 was
I
the final.
expected it to be a lot closer than that, especially the way Jordan Love was playing. But as I said, Jordan Love can't play bad all the time. So
Let's see his numbers. I don't think he had a great day. I honestly do not think he had a great day. Okay. He did not play bad. 20-26, 228, and a score. That's not bad. I can't call that bad.
Right. Not a bad day. He didn't have a great day, but
Commanders Patriots is next. Washington ended up winning this one by a score of 20-17. We both got that one right as well. Seahawks Ravens. I told you this was the game of the week. I told you this was the game to watch. 37-3, the final for the Baltimore Ravens. They are legit for sure. Buccaneers and Texans. How about C.J. Stroud, Mike? Did you see the numbers? Did you see the final tally?
I'm only doing that because I lost that game. I picked against.
We both did.
So
30 of 42.
That is absolutely crazy.
30 of 42.
Broke a rookie record. It said, right?
470 yards and 5 touchdowns. 1 for every finger on his throwing hand. That is, of course, unless his hand is deformed and he has 6 fingers somehow. But anyway, next up, Cleveland Browns, Arizona Cardinals. Another one I thought it was going to be closer, but it ended up being a blowout, a shutout, and bye-bye Cardinals. 27-0 in favor of the Cleveland Browns. Colts and Panthers was Frank Reich versus his former team. Homecoming was not great. You got this one right. 27-13 in favor of the Indianapolis Colts. Raiders and Giants, Mike. We were just watching this one upstairs on Red Zone. Man, the Giants just I think you can stick a fork in them at this point.
I'm pretty sure you can. And O'Connell had a Derek Carr name. He's got his old or game. He had his old
Jersey number, yep.
So and he had a hell of a
30
game.
to 6 the final there, and Eagles Cowboys has 46 seconds to go, Mike. It is 28-23 in favor of the Eagles. They have the football. It's 4th and 8. So that is a game to watch, but it looks like the Eagles are probably going to walk away with the win.
As expected. I know I chose the Cowboys, but
Mm-hmm.
we expected the Eagles to win this one. The Cowboys still are their defense kept them in it, so
A little bit. Moving on, though, let's get right into Bills and Bengals talk. That's what everybody is here for, Mike. The Buffalo Bills inactives today. Safety Damar Hamlin, linebacker A.J. Klein, linebacker Balin Spector, offensive guard Jermaine Ifedi, tackle Alec Anderson, and defensive tackle Puna Ford. Obviously, Mike, the name that everybody's going to want to talk about is Damar Hamlin on that list. Your thoughts on him being inactive today?
it's just a normal thing. He's been inactive once, or he's been active once this entire year. He's the 4th best on the team. I mean, why would you want to? And then why would you want to dress the guy anyways? I feel like, why would you want to bring back that memory? He's already going to have that on the sideline. I mean,
that's true. It's true.
You don't want to put him in that situation. PTSD like a
mug.
Yeah.
But I think it's a football move at the end of the day, and that's what I respect the most about it. Is Damar Hamlin a starter on this team? No. He's not even the backup on the team.
Nope.
He made the 53. Congratulations to him, especially for going through what he went through. We haven't seen another player go through that ever in the history of the NFL, the 104-year history. And, it's just not your time yet, young fella. Like, you just, keep grinding, keep doing your thing. Micah and Poyer are not going to be here forever. They're both, in their 30s now. So we might be seeing the end of them. Maybe you get your chance again here. Maybe it's somewhere else. But right now, the best thing for Damar Hamlin is to not see the field. But moving on, Mike, into the inactives for the Cincinnati Bengals, cornerback DJ Ivey, center Trey Hill, offensive tackle Deontay Smith, linebacker Devin Harper, and defensive tackle Josh Tupou. I don't know any of those guys.
I don't either,
So I think they're fairly healthy.
I was going to say they're pretty healthy, man. So
I would say fairly healthy going into this matchup with the Buffalo Bills. Of course, in Cincinnati this week, the Bengals are a scary team. We know that. We know they ended our season last year. We know that when we played in the Damar Hamlin game, it was not going well for Buffalo up to that
they
point.
Were getting ready to blow us out that game.
I think that's a little early to say it.
Maybe.
It's a little early to call that, but so far, coming into this game, the Cincinnati Bengals are on a 3-game winning streak. They beat the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals back to back to back. Joe Burrow is finally healthy. 28-32 last week, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 100%. He's healthy. No longer on the injury report. He's good. Jamar Chase last week, 10 receptions, 100 yards. Who the hell's going to cover him? We'll get into that in a little bit. 1 turnover forced by them last week by Logan Wilson. 1 penalty. 1 penalty called against them last week. I hate to see that.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
As many penalties as it gets called during the week, it's just
insane.
Insane to 1 penalty on a team.
31st ranked offense in the league, Mike. You know the names. Jamar Chase.
Yep.
Tyler Boyd.
Sure do.
T. Higgins. Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon. F you, Melissa. And the 18th ranked defense, Mike, for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
But I wrote this simple fact, Mike, and then I'll let you get into your notes here on Cincinnati. Their rankings are not indicative of who they are or who they're going to be. We're only halfway through the season. It's not time to put a fork in them the way it's time to put one in the Giants.
Right. Agreed. As far as the Bengals go, you got to remember that Burrow was hurt first 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they played like total ass.
Yep.
So again, like you said, he showed. I have the same nose. Showed that he's back to 100% all the way. Now, I want to point out that they've only allowed 17 sacks this year.
Okay.
And last year,
the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals. So we watched like a few snippets of their games, and we were like, oh man, they're still kind of Swiss cheese the first couple of weeks, and that was kind of the case. But 17 this time last year, they had 30. They had allowed 30 sacks, and that stat I got off of StatMuse.
Is there an addition on the offensive line that I'm missing during the offseason maybe that is contributing to that? I believe there may have been a guard they were missing that got healthy around week 3, week 4.
Okay,
that came back into the starting lineup and kind of.
That makes sense, but that's almost half to cut it in half at the exact time. I mean,
yeah, it's good.
They're obviously on, so the Bills need to be on.
And the Bills haven't been on in about. God, I'm losing track, bro. I'm honestly losing track. But the Buffalo Bills last week, Mike, first game we haven't watched together all year, ended up being a win. Thank the Lord. Mm-hmm. It comes down to a Hail Mary, and at the end of the day, I don't feel like that game should have come down to a Hail Mary. I don't think it needed to, but that's what it came down to. Tell me about the Buffalo Bills.
What do you want me to tell you about the Buffalo Bills?
What do I need to know?
Did we didn't talk about the trade yet, did we?
We didn't.
We didn't talk about the trade. Buffalo Bills trade for
Rasul
Douglas
from the Green Bay
for
Packers.
Basically nothing. And then every single one of my friends who are Packers friends or Packers fans, I have a couple of them. They said that we're getting a good corner.
Kevin messaged the group chat in all caps. F no, oh my God, what are we doing? This sucks. La-di-da-di-la-di-da-di. So that's how I know.
From my understanding, he's one of those undrafted guys that made a name for himself or started to make a name for himself. So
I can tell you one thing about him that you may not know, and that's the fact that the Green Bay Packers play a lot of zone coverage. So he's coming into a zone-heavy scheme as a zone corner. This is not the Buffalo Bills selecting Kyer Elam in the draft when he is better at man than he is at zone, and we kind of question that. But Douglas was a third-round pick, Mike, in 2017 by the Philadelphia Eagles. He's kind of bounced around a bit, going around Eagles, Panthers, Raiders, Texans, Cardinals, Packers, and now on the Buffalo Bills. Only at age 29, by the way. This is like a good age for a guy in the secondary where you still got a couple more, maybe 3-4 years left of solid production. Hopefully, maybe he can help some of the young guys in the room.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the Bills basically gave up nothing for this, and the reason for that is because of losing Tremaine Edmonds after his rookie deal was up, the Buffalo Bills are most likely due a compensatory third-round draft pick from losing Tremaine Edmonds. So they're expecting to have an extra one. They get a fifth back in that trade, which I think is what makes it, right? If you're telling me you sent a third-round pick away for a player straight up, I'm not as happy about that. Like I'm a little worried about where the value is. But Mike, the Buffalo Bills, and we've been talking about this for weeks now on this channel, they play down to whoever they are playing against.
Yeah.
It's like if you're Mac Jones, Josh Allen comes in the room and he's Josh Allen. He's got the beard, he's got everything, right? The 5 stars on the C. Hold up a mirror. That's what he plays like, Mac Jones. Against the Giants. Same thing, dude. Why can they not seem to just play good?
Is it the coaching, though? Is it the coaching thinking that they don't have to really worry about them as much? Because they were lower-level teams? We complained a lot about the play calling.
It could be, but, I mean, you know what this team does. You know what this coaching staff does. They're going to preach it every week. One game at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 week at a time.
Yeah,
we're not looking at next week. And that's what they always say, but it's not how it always goes. Last week, 9 penalties for 86 yards for the Buffalo Bills. Kind of costly ones. Costly ones at the end, Mike, with Jordan Phillips with a freaking face mask.
They have got to curb that against this Bengals team.
Yeah, you cannot play that way Karen Johnson with the incidental contact, and you put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into scoring range, and they capitalized on it. You cannot play that kind of defense or just crappy football against a team like the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, last week against the Bucs, we got the Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills of old for 3 out of 4 quarters. The first 3 quarters, and that's what I wrote down. He went for 31 for 40.
Okay, not too bad.
324, 2 touchdowns and a running touchdown, plus another 41 on the yards
And a pick. Can't forget about that.
No, we can't. But again, we're used to
4 in a row, 4 games with an interception.
We're used to Josh throwing a pick. He's been a pick since he's been in the league. He's been a pick a game.
I don't want him to be a pick a game player.
I don't want him to be either. But he's been on average a pick a game.
With all we're discussing right now about the Bills' offense and the struggles, they are the 5th ranked offense in the league. And I don't know how. I honestly have no idea. Is it because we scored a lot against Washington and we scored a lot against Vegas?
I was just gonna say we beat the pants off of nobody teams, and it puts it at a lopside. Pretty sure if you take it out against the good teams, that number is gonna be a lot different.
Who's in the chat below? Let us know who's here. If you got any questions or anything as we discuss the Bills and Bengals game, which kicks off in about
it's probably my pops in
45 minutes. Oh, that's possible. Is he upstairs?
Probably.
I didn't hear the dog bark.
Probably.
The Buffalo Bills defense, Mike, is ranked 19th in the league, and that is not a sight that we are used to.
Not where we're used to be. I was talking about the Steelers. We're used to seeing them with the stout defense and being top of the league of the defense, and they had slid this year. And the same thing's happening with the Buffalo Bills right under our nose, man.
The difference.
Injuries.
That's the difference. That's the difference. You're missing.
Yada yada.
You're missing All-Pro Matt Milano. You're missing Daquan Jones, who is still listed as the 8th best nose tackle in the league this year. And he's missed like 4 games, and he's going to miss the entire year. And he's still in the top 10.
He's a true blue nose tackle.
Yeah. Everybody on that list was a true nose tackle, and he was ranked 8th in the league. And then, of course, Tre'Davious White, and that one hurts the most because it's sad. More than anything, it's not like I'm upset for the team.
The mental health that is gonna be.
I heard him. I'm sad for the man. I'm not sad for the team. I'm upset as a Bills fan, but I'm more sad for Tre'Davious White. That
I agree.
He had to work so. I cannot imagine the mental torment that happens. I mean, you saw the way he reacted, and we all saw it, and it sucks.
It was awful.
And then the other one that people aren't talking about enough is Von Miller. He's still not 100%. He still has not played more than 30% of the snaps since he returned a couple weeks ago in London.
And you know what? I heard Matty Glab and Steve Tasker. That's why I'm pointing to it.
Oh, that one. Okay. I thought you were pointing to Dennis Bird. I was like, what do the Eagles have to do with anything?
That one. For those of you who can't see it, I got a Steve Tasker signed card. Anyways, they were talking about that same thing. What were we even talking about?
Von Miller.
Von Miller. That everyone's upset that they don't want him. Or then everybody wants him back in the game right away. Well, you gotta let him acclimate back to the game. Whether he's 100% or 90% and just able to play a few snaps, you gotta remember that there's the mental aspect too. You gotta let him. You gotta give him another 4 to 5 games after he's inserted to get back to old Von.
It's already been 3. Come back. We need you. We need you, bud. We need you. So the Buffalo Bills add Rasul Douglas at the trade deadline, but that wasn't the only move they made this week, Mike. Picking up Leonard Fournette off of the free agency, off of the street, basically.
Yeah, he thought he was nice and bold and come here and cut off his shorts and show
Did you
off
see
his
his
nice
tweet?
thighs.
You see his tweet?
No, what
He
is that?
said, "Buffalo is colder than a penguin's ass."
He ain't seen nothing yet.
Exactly. He posted that in October.
He ain't seen nothing yet.
I like the move. I do. You know, I'm not against it. He was brought up to the practice squad, and I think at the end of the day, what this tells you more than anything is that we're not going to see Damian Harris again this year. Obviously, he suffered that neck injury a couple weeks ago, and hope for the best for him. But people who don't understand this move, I want them to know that, like, James Cook has not been the bell cow. And you can't just keep putting out Latavius Murray because he gets gassed quickly because of his age. He's had a really good year so far with the Buffalo Bills as a backup. But I think you need somebody else. You do. And Damian Harris was getting carries. So I think there's a reason for making this move and acquiring Leonard Fournette. Not to mention, championship pedigree, won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. His last year in Tampa Bay, he was a really big option in the receiving game. So I'm not against it. I don't know if he was called up, though. I don't think he was for this game.
I'm not 100% sure. But I like the move. I don't mind it. He's been a pretty solid back.
Yeah.
So
obviously his best years in Jacksonville, but
clearly.
He's a little older now.
But a nice, solid veteran presence in the locker room.
Exactly.
For James Cook, because they're still in that I trust you, but I'm not.
We're not 100% yet.
You know, I'm probably 70% there, I would say. But,
well, before we get going, let's get into our keys to the game, Mike. Your keys for the Buffalo Bills this week to get a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals.
My key to the game for their offense is, I loved that they had Shakir involved. I think they need to keep a lot more of that in there. I think they need to get Kincaid.
Do you like Shakir over Hardy, or do you think Shakir plays better on the outside?
I think he's better, more like outside.
Okay. So that would be taking snaps away from Gabe Davis. Are you okay with that?
Somewhat. Depends on what Gabe we get.
I know.
Depends on what Gabe
that's
we
the
get.
problem,
I mean,
isn't it?
If we start getting the Gabe that drops the ball 100 times, then, insert Shakir here. But, I do kind of like him in the slot, though, too. He, like I said, for 3 quarters, we got the Bills of old. And don't tell me that some of those didn't remind you of Cole Beasley days a little bit.
Not for me. Not for me. I think Shakir is a different player, and you mentioned he's better outside. Obviously, you don't get that from Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley was your inside route runner kind of guy. So I see what you mean. Offensively, I'm gonna go.
I need other. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I'm not done.
All
yet,
right.
And then I also wrote down that you need to let Allen be Allen. You need to let him run over guys in the right situation, Josh. In the right situation.
That's what we said. That's what we said last week too. That was one of our keys.
Desperation time, and if they don't win, it's gonna be panic time.
Okay. That's a big point at this point in the season. There's still a long ways to go. I think the number one thing I want to see this week that I didn't see last week is more balance. I want to see more successful in the run game.
Yep.
I don't want to see Allen leading the team in rushing every week. And James Cook did not have a bad week last week by any stretch of the imagination. But once you get those numbers over 100 yards, that's where I like to be. That's where I like to be in terms of rushing, is get up there in that terms. I like the Shakir point. I know you mentioned a little bit about Kincaid, and I kind of talked over you there, so I want to re-mention that you mentioned that you think Kincaid should be involved more. I like that a lot. We're not going to see Knox. He was put on IR. Going to miss at least 4 games. I like the Allen point. What else do I want to do?
Shakir caught all 6 passes his way last week.
Yeah, he's very efficient.
He's very efficient catching the ball. So
I think I'm going to go to the offensive line, and I'm going to say play some disciplined football, because we cannot be one of those teams like the Dallas Cowboys were today, and every big play is called back by a penalty, Mike.
Absolutely, and you're right, because you know what? The Bengals haven't been a slouch in the sacking department either. So
Okay.
this year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they got some guys out there. Trey Hendrickson on the one side.
Yep.
And what about for the Buffalo Bills defense?
for the defense, speaking of balance, I said they need to have a balanced attack about
Pressuring the quarterback?
pressuring Burrow. Yeah, I think
Burrows?
that's my biggest key. Burrows. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's used to being sacked, so he's going to be looking to get out of situations where if you find that balanced attack on him, especially if Mixon is back in the mix.
I got an idea for the
You got my
play call.
old Cincinnati Zoo.
I do. Washington D.C. Zoo. But anyway,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna read this. What this says, okay? Do the exact opposite of what you did the last time you played the Bengals.
Yeah. Play a little bit more man defense if you can keep up with
They
T.
can't.
Higgins.
They can't. I mean, T. Higgins has been ass for most of the year. Jamar Chase, I mentioned, had a really good week last week. I think you want to do your best at subduing him. At the end of the day, I think what you need to do, I think your pressure point was crucial. I think you need to make sure you're sending some type of pressure. Do not let him sit in the pocket all day and carve you up. You need to stop the run game. You need to be able to defend against play action. Get the Bengals off the field. That's one area that you can go to is control the clock, man. You control the clock. You control your destiny at the end of the day. What do you think for the Bengals? Do you have any keys for the Bengals?
I do have a couple, and I noted that obviously what we talked about, Buffalo's defense has been sliding, and obviously due to injuries, I can see them picking a little bit on the new guy at corner.
Okay.
If
he plays.
he's new in time, if they got him out there.
I would expect him to play. He's not on the inactives.
Just keep them small chunk plays, because that's what Buffalo's the worst at, man. Keep them small chunk plays, them small screen plays.
Keep them coming.
Buffalo's been better on the run, but they're notoriously bad against the run. But Leonard Floyd kind of changed that, so maybe they'll have to mix it up a little bit too.
My key to the game for the Bengals is punt the ball as often as you can.
Take his advice, Bengals, not mine.
And it'll give us the best chance to win. Let's get into our predictions before we close this stream out. Thank you for everybody who came out today for the Buffalo Bills official pregame show on the Kelly Cast. I don't know where I'm going, Mike. I don't know, man. This is a hard freaking game. You said it yourself. You said it yourself. These teams match up so well in almost every single category.
This year, every single category this year, every points allowed, time of possession. Actually, the Bengals are a touch better at time of possession.
You know what? As you were talking there, I wasn't listening, but I can't pick against my Bills just yet. I can't do it. It's hard. So I'm gonna select the Buffalo Bills. I probably already lost this week because Mike is a fucking genie.
But guru.
I'm gonna take the Buffalo Bills to win this game.
It
feels that way. I don't know why, but it feels that way to me this week.
Okay, I can dig it. I mean, we gotta win one against them, hopefully, right?
We've only played them once and a half.
1.5 on the plate, yeah. But
Aaron, what's up, buddy?
Every single time.
Thanks for hopping in. We're just getting into our predictions here. I just selected the Buffalo Bills to win, and Mike is coming up with his selection right now.
Mulling over my selection. Do I really want to pick against the Bills? I don't. Give me a breathing treatment. I want to have the Buffalo Bills win. I'll go Bills. Bills.
I thought you were going to do it, Mike. I thought you were going to do it.
I almost did it.
Are you wearing your Burrow jersey underneath that?
I'm not. I'm going to burn it if they win.
You won't.
I will. It was only $20. I will burn it.
Aaron, do you have any questions here? But before we sign off, as we get ready for Bills and Bengals, if you got any questions, let us know. We'll stay on here for a little bit more.
Aaron said that he's got the Bills in his pick'em league, so
that's a rough selection.
It's such a tough.
It was
game
a
to
hard
pick.
week. It was a hard week. If I don't know, obviously, what teams you had available, Aaron. I probably would have went Saints this week up against the Bears in a pick'em league. That's probably where I would have leaned towards. But again, if you didn't have them available, I can see that. And it looks like your Packers parlay didn't hit either, bud. So, sorry for that.
I just hate that I have to hesitate to pick the Buffalo Bills. It is awful.
This is not beer.
Not yet. We'll get there by the end of the night, I'm sure.
I'm still young. All right. Well, I think that's all we got for you guys today for the Kellycast. We want to thank you for coming out. If you haven't seen us on all social medias, we are at the Kellycast. This is Mike Kelly. For whatever reason, he's good at predicting the games, and I honestly have no idea why. I'm Dan Kelly. I'm the guy who runs the show around here. So if you want, follow us on all socials. We appreciate you for stopping by. Enjoy the Buffalo Bills' victory over the Cincinnati Bengals wearing these beauties right here. And as always, give them a go, Bills.
Go Bills.
You better win today. You better win.